So I was walking in Central Park, and I thought of two boys and two girls who meet on a vacation, and I knew that their lives would all be changed because of their meeting. And I wanted to write about, I was thinking a lot at that time about technology and whether it brings us closer together or whether it makes us more isolated. And I was thinking about the butterfly effect and how one small action in one part of the world can create tidal waves on the other side of the globe. And I was thinking about how what we think other people, what we imagine other people are thinking, and how we can see someone and think, oh, their life is so great and easy, and their hair always looks so good, and everything's so easy for them. And then if we really got inside their heads, you'd realize what's actually going on and what they go through, during their day. So I was mulling over all these ideas, and I was mulling over these characters, two boys and two girls who meet. And it starts out, and I thought, okay, I've got it. The whole concept kind of came to me. It was 4 novellas. And it starts out with the girl Jenna, who is your kind of ordinary, regular girl looking for romance, looking for inspiration. And she meets a boy she goes on this vacation to a resort called Paradise with a friend of hers, her mom, and her mom's friend, and her mom's friend's daughter. And her mom's friend's daughter is this beautiful actress who's very aloof. So on this vacation, Jenna has this disastrous romance thing with the guy Dakota. And then the next novella is Dakota, a month later. And then you realize why it was so disastrous and what secrets he's harboring. And it was just so exciting to write this one character and see a guy from a certain perspective, and then to turn the page and say, oh, okay, wow, I didn't really think about it that way. And then there is another novella, Sky, the girl who ends up stealing Dakota from my first character in the first novella. And she's beautiful and aloof and has got some really dark sides that shape a bit of mystery in the story also. And then the last novella is Owen. And I'm going to read from Owen. He is Dakota's little brother, and he's a blogger, and he's very awkward and hides behind his computer. That's where he expresses himself. But in this section I'm going to read, well, basically Owen goes on a quest for love, which is why I'm reading this section, because who can resist a wonderful quest for love? And the quest for love is in search of one of the characters that shows up earlier in the book. So, I'm going to mention, in this section there is mention of something called Real Life, which is basically Facebook, but I kept thinking, well, there was like Friendster, and there was MySpace, and then there was Facebook, and by the time this book comes out, it could be Real Life. So, this is the beginning of Owen's section. On the afternoon of the first day, I called my brother and said, man, you've got to save me. Save you from what? Dakota asked. I glanced around the conference room with its plastic plants, vine-patterned carpet, and long table heaped with Pop-Tarts, jars of Cheese Whiz, and whatever else they thought would simulate typical teen interactions. There were 20 of us, plus 2 facilitators, Jason and Abby. As far as I could tell, they were taking their summer jobs far too seriously. I slid my tongue over my retainer and tried to figure out how to convince my brother to drive 2 hours to this towering hotel in downtown Syracuse. But then Abby spotted me. She clutched her clipboard to her chest and marched over to where I attempted to camouflage myself behind a hedge of fake palm trees, which was tough given that they're 5 feet tall, and I'm 6'3". Save you from what? Dakota asked again. Abby stood in front of me, tapping her toe against the carpet. During orientation, she told us she was going into her senior year at Duke, majoring in psychology, and she wanted to be a therapist someday. She was medium height, blonde, and pretty in this all-American way that made my saliva evaporate whenever she looked in my direction. You still there? Dakota asked. What do you need me to save you from? Abby pointed to my phone and then held out her hand, flat and rigid, like she was feeding carrots to a horse. Everything, I said, before clicking the end button and surrendering my contact to the outside world.